Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're taking a look at the Corocoro Karuta card set. PSA calls it the Tora Karuta card set. I don't know why they say that. Maybe one of you guys can explain. This is such an unusual card set that I decided to send it off to grade to see if they would even accept it. And they accepted it right away. It was really interesting. So let me move these off to the side because to begin this, you have to take a look at where they come from. So I spent thousands of dollars acquiring this magazine right here. I think it's a magazine. Is it a magazine or is it a comic book? Take a look at that. So this is a Corocoro episode or magazine number, does it say? Right here. 1997, I think it says 225. Very interesting. And when we flip to the back of it, right here on the last page, you've got the Karuta set. A Happy New Year. Look at that. So there they all are. Very neat. I've thought about tearing the pages out and trying to get the individual pages graded. What do you guys think about that? Anybody in here ever done anything like that before? You think PSA would accept that? If PSA would grade these whole sheets, I would send them in right now. There's the best card right there. The Charmander with the cigarette Charmander. All right. And here we are on the back. And this little thing, the Blastoise down here, you actually chop that out and you can fold it on the dotted line and that will create a box for you to store it all in. And these are used in the game as well. I don't really know how. Very interesting. Okay, so there you have it. And I've got the rest of the magazine as well. I don't know what to do with all this. Cool stuff, right? All right. Very nice. Now you see where they've come from. But now I get to show you what they look like after they're done grading. So this was a small kids collection I acquired. It wasn't cheap, and none of it's really cheap. If you ever look these up online, most of these are graded by CGC. So I'm very pleased to have a collection graded by PSA. Now this whole collection just came from one set, okay? So it wasn't like split up. These weren't individual pieces. And now I want to show you what they look like. We're going to go one by one. We've got, let's go ahead and zoom in. We've got Haunter. Looks like he's spooking Trainer Red. Very nice. This one happens to be one that I think is very good. Here's Articuno. Simple. Here's Arcanine. I don't know what that thing is behind him. Here's Nidoking, and he's in trouble with Nidoqueen. She's very angry. She's wearing an apron. Okay, here's a simple Dratini. Here's a Seeking, and it looks like the Seeking is drooling underwater for a worm on a hook. What kind of worm is that? That's the worm of Pokemon. Here's Zapdos, very sparkly. You'll notice how poorly they're cut. That's because they're all cut by hand. Also, for whatever reason, PSA mostly just says authentic on them, but this one actually got a grade. It got a grade of 1. So weird. Why did they decide that? Look at that. Butterfree. He looks kind of fat. Who is the artist who drew these? Does anyone know who the artist is? Here's Jinx. What language is that? That's not Japanese, is it? What is Jinx saying here? So Jinx is saying something, and I don't know what it is. Also, so is Jinx speaking in a made-up language? Was that a real language? I think it's made up. I don't think I've ever seen that. There's Fedinat. Very ugly as usual. Here's Clefable. Using beat-up, maybe? I don't know what that is. Here's Charizard. Charizard's in the set, and he looks very strange. Here's Mew. I think Mew's a really nice one. Very straightforward Mew, upside down. Machamp. I know Mr. Sven Jansen might want this Machamp. Whoops. What if the light was more blue? Does that look okay? Let's play with the light a little bit. Here's Caterpie, and it looks like that is a Pidgey in the back. It is making Caterpie kind of nervous because birds eat worms. Here we go. We ran into the Cigarette Charmander. So this is probably the best card in the set. I think this is probably what most people want, is the Cigarette Charmander. Okay. We have Lickitung, and he's eating a bunch of food. He's got a dead fish there. So that doesn't really make sense to me. So he's eating a fish. Is that a Magikarp? Here's also a top pull, I think. That's Pikachu in the woods. Very cool. All right. Set that there. Here's Kingler, and he is crushing a steel beam in his claw. Wow. Here's a Venusaur looking very seductive. I think this Venusaur wants my babies. Put this over here. Okay. Here's a Psyduck purchased by Jen. So when I got the Psyduck back, I knew Jen was going to want it right away. Also, she went on and purchased this Clefairy. If you want to know what these sold for $150 a piece. Many of the cards are similar in price to that. This one sold to Mr. Aovic. This also sold for $150. If you're interested in one of these cards, you can contact me or you can join us live, where many of these are going to be priced up or are already priced up. Here's Kadabra. He woke up and he found a bent spoon and a bent fork in his bed, and he looks kind of disturbed by that. Here are the Diglets. Maybe they're about to form a Dugtrio. Somebody pointed out this looks like the Spider-Man meme. Here are 3 Voltorbs, being very electric. Chansey. What's going on here? Chansey escaped the Pokeball? Here's a nice Ponyta. Ponyta jumping over a building, it looks like. Kind of like a cow jumped over the moon moment. Here's Dodrio. Looks like there's one angry head, and the other 2 are scared of it. It's actually really psychological when you think about it. Here's Jigglypuff. She's singing, but nobody's listening. They all fell asleep, so she's very angry. Here's one of my favorite cards in the set, Blastoise. Look at that Blastoise. If you're a Blastoise collector, this will no doubt become one of the cards you have to have. Look at that Blastoise, so nice. Okay, and now we have a Scyther. All of these artworks are so charming. Look at that Great Ball, and it looks like it bounced off his head, and he's kind of surprised by it. Okay, just a little more here. Ready? We've got an Onix. Pretty straightforward. He's in a cave. This one's so pretty. So this is Poliwag. I've actually tossed this Poliwag into the live customs. And look at it. He's surrounded by lily pads and a little dragonfly on his tail. So nice. Yeah, that one's really good. Poliwag. Ooh, look at this Meowth. And he is swimming in gold. Okay, very relatable. This is a great card. You know, there's a Cardos Gengar who's eating Snorlax's dream. In this one, Drowsy's eating a kid's dream. All right, Dream Eater. That gets depicted a lot. A simple Hitmonlee with his foot really close to your face, it seems to be. This one's cool. I bet this one sells. Here's a smiling Slowpoke, but he looks kind of, I'm sorry, Slowbro, but he looks kind of like a Slowpoke. He's getting his tail bit off by Shelder? What's the argument for that thing back there? I think they call it Shelder, but I don't know. Here's Drowsy. This is also one of my favorites. He's got a big smile on his face. He's drooling. He's got a big snot bubble. That's a great card. Really good one. Mewtwo, but Mewtwo has some kind of weird nose. Very strange. A very pretty Vulpix. Look at that Vulpix. They're showing off the Vulpix tail. Okay, here's Moltres. So Articuno, Zapdos, Moltres are all together in this set. You can get them as a triplet. Here's Arbok fighting a very nervous-looking Jigglypuff. Rattata made it into the set. Looks like he's biting through some wood. I don't understand this stuff down here, though. All right, here's Mr. Mime. Look at that. And he looks like he's behind glass or something. So he's doing some miming from behind glass. And Trainer Red is like, oh no. Just like we had a seductive Venusaur, here is Sassy Bulbasaur. He's going, whatever. Okay, we got a little Sassy Bulbasaur, lovely. I went ahead and signed this one. I've been doing that a little bit. Now, I didn't sign the card itself. I only signed the PSA case. You can just clean that off, or you can get a new PSA case. But I really like Magneton, so I thought I would sign it. I also especially like that this Magneton is the ace of spades of this set. So very cool. You might be inclined to buy that if you enjoy my content. And then here is Tauros. That's the entire collection, everybody. You've seen all of them. Let me know which artwork you thought was the very best. I think it goes without saying, the most interesting artwork of all these different artworks has got to be this one. King of Diamond, Cigarette Charmander. Such a fascinating card. So weird. It's like, it takes you back to a time period where maybe they made kids' toys, but they didn't make them so carefully. You know what I mean? Like, there wasn't so much psychology and thought that went into kids' toys. Like, be careful. You don't want your kids to do this or that. So, you know, maybe the kids' toys were a bit more rough around the edges, and there's something very endearing or real about it. I don't know. So, you know, I've seen a card where Jesse and James are holding machine guns, or James had like fake boobs or whatever, right? So, yeah, all that's carefully bleached out of all of our children's shows now, that sort of realism. I don't like that. But yeah, this is a lot of fun, and I imagine a long time ago, some kids got that Corocoro magazine and chopped all these little cards out. 25 years later, we are grading these, and they're selling for hundreds of dollars. How insane is that? Typical Pokemon. All right, I've done my job. I've done my duty. We've documented the Corocoro Karuta cards. I don't even know what game you play with these. It looks like just a regular deck of cards, doesn't it? All right, let me know in the comment section if you enjoyed this. Don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button. Thanks, guys.